Hello everyone, so here is the dress we are making a pattern tutorial for today. We are focusing on the upper part. I've gone ahead to draft the pattern I'll be using for this tutorial. I'll be using a full scale pattern. This is what our half scale pattern looks like. But we'll be using this full scale because of the style we're working with. It requires you to draft a full scale body. So this is the front. This is what the back looks like. The back is also a full scale pattern. So we're going to let's get right into the tutorial. So I'm going to draw out my center line just so that everything is clear when I'm drafting. There will be no confusion. So this is my center line. So this or what we call center front. So this is going to be my center front because it's very important to the drafting of this pattern. The neck I'm working with is 3 by 3 inches. You can use this as a guide. You can draw your neckline all the way down like this. Yeah. Now that you have extended this line, you are going to determine how low you want your neckline to be. For me, I'll just go up 1 inch above my across chest. You can work with your across chest line, but nothing lower. So I'm going to connect this to your arm. So 1 inch above my across chest is fine for me. And from here, I'm going to connect this to my armhole. For ease of drafting, I'm going to use this curved ruler to connect that point to my armhole. So I'm connecting it to my sewing allowance, my armhole allowance here. Here you are free to, adjust the shape as you want. So I am fine with what this looks like. I wish I had another color of marker. I would have used that to draft so that this line is easily, you can easily differentiate the lines I'm drawing. I want to try this black ink pen. Let's see if that will work. So like I said, here you can decide how you want your neckline to be. If you want to make any adjustments, feel free to do that. Okay, I don't know if it's clear enough, but I was able to use this black pen to draw out a line. And then from this point, we are going to connect it back to our armhole. I have added all my sewing allowances, so I don't need to bother about allowances around my armhole. So from here, I'm going to connect that point back to my armhole. And so this is what my neckline looks like at this point. At this point, you are allowed to make as much adjustments as you want to the neckline. If you want it to be curvy, you can come with your curved ruler and try to make the necessary adjustments. You see, with this I was able to make a slight curve around my neckline. When you are satisfied with this, now we'll go ahead to tighten our neckline, because if you leave it like this, by the time you are done sewing everything, it's going to gape around the neckline. So the first thing we're going to do is to extend our dart line. So I'm going to I'll extend my dart line like this. I'm also going to extend this dart line like this. For this one, if it's too close to your own neckline, you can make a slight bend like this. So it allows you to be able to tighten properly and you're not so close to this point. So now that we're done with that, I'm going to tighten by 0.5 inch on each side of my dart. If you need to tighten more when you are done sewing, please feel free to go ahead, because depending on the size, the volume of your bust, the width of your upper chest is going to determine if this tightening is enough. But for me, 0.5 is enough for me. Some people can go as much as 0.75, 1 inch to tighten on each side, depending on the differences between your bust and your upper bust will determine how much you need to tighten basically. But for me, 0.5 is fine. You can start with that. Then if you need to tighten more, it's easier to then make the necessary adjustments. So we have been able to tighten the first side, and I'm going to repeat the same process for the other side. Like I mentioned, because I don't want this line to be so close to this place, I'm going to just mark 1 inch downward from here, and that's going to be my, you see. So instead of me to take 0.5 here, 0.5 here, because what I need to tighten, I'm tightening each side by 1 inch. So I can as well just come down by 1 inch and just tighten that. So I'll connect back, sorry, I connect that to my bust point like so. And this way I have tightened it. And that's basically it for the front. If you want, you can go ahead and, this is the normal waist dart. If you want, you can, tighten your under bust. So let's try that. If you like to tighten your under bust, you can also do that. So this is my under bust line. I usually would tighten by half an inch. Some people use 1 inch. Whatever you are, used to, please go ahead and do that. So I connect my 0.5 back to my waistline, and then I'm going to take my curved ruler and connect that to my dart that is coming from here. And that way I'm going to have an under bust tightening. So if you want to pad this place and have like a bustier effect, you can go ahead and do that. So we're going to repeat the same process for this point. So I'm marking 0.5 on both sides of my dart. We'll connect that to the waistline. Connect that to the waistline. And then we'll connect it back to our chest dart. And that's basically, so I'm going to cut this out and show you what each panel will look like. And for this part, you're going to determine whether this point is going to be on your left side or on your right side. Whatever you do for the front, you have to also do for the back. If this place is going to be on your right side, it's going to be on the right side of the back when you're making your pattern or when you're cutting your fabric. If this place is going to be on your left, you're going to, do the same on the back. So now I'm going to cut my pattern out. Okay, sorry, before I cut out completely, we need to determine the length of our strap. So we're going to measure for the front and we'll keep that aside, and when we're done drafting with the back, we're also going to measure that so that we know the length, the actual length of strap that you're going to work with. So we're going to make like an illusion of our strap, because your strap is going to take a form like this. So you can do something like this. And I'm going to make dotted lines. Can you see this? Your strap is going to sit like this. And now we are going to measure what we have in the front. We're not going to be measuring this shoulder allowance because our strap is going to be one long strip. So remember to take out your your shoulder allowance if you have added it. So I'm going to start marking from my actual shoulder allowance. So this is 11.25 here. Remember, we're going to skip this 1 inch that we tighten. So I stop at the first dart line and then I move over to this point and then I continue marking. So I continue measuring and then I'll stop at this actual side line, not the sewing allowance. I don't need it. So I measure like this. So for me, I have 15.5. That is what this strap for my front is. The length of the strap of my front is. So I'm going to write it down somewhere so I don't forget. So my strap for the front is 15.5 inches. So now that that is on the way, we're going to now cut out completely. This step is very important. If not, by the time you want to add your strap, you have issues doing that. Because we're going to be adding straps to this top, you don't need to add any sewing allowance. Then for my dart, I'm going to close my dart for the side. And I'm going to close it this way. I'm going to extend the side dart to my bust line. And then I'll cut that out. So you can now tape this down when you are done so you don't forget and cut out. But if your own pattern does not have side dart, you don't have to worry about this step. So this is one. This is the center panel. For this one, I'm also going to extend the side dart line. If you don't have side dart, this part is not important to you, so you don't have to worry yourself about what I am doing. And then I'm going to fold this in. So this is what I have. If you have a side dart in your pattern and you folded it in like that, if there's any pointed corner here, you can just go ahead and trim it out. When you trim it out, you can tape this down, and this is what we have. So we're basically done with the front, and now we'll move ahead to the back. So this is my back panel. Like I mentioned, this is also full scale. I'm folding like this so that I can determine where the center line is, and I can draw that line out. So this is center back. Like I mentioned, when you are constructing your pattern, if you are working with the left side on your front, make sure that you're also going to be constructing on the left side of your pattern so that when you are cutting, you're going to be cutting right. For this pattern here, this angle here is on my right side. So when I'm constructing on my back, I'm going to construct here. So when I'm cutting my fabric, I will not have any issue. Because if these fabrics are not placed properly, you're going to have issues when you are joining your fabric. And that is why I am saying it like that. So I'm going to construct here and not here. On the front, I constructed here, and here, if placed on my body, is on my right side. Here, if placed on my body, is going to be on the right side as well. If I use this place, it's going to be on my left. So I'm going to be constructing from here. And if all this explanation is confused, I'll try and put up a video sometime next week. I'll try and make, cause the dress I have on, I'd already finished it, posted it before the thought of making a pattern tutorial came up. So I'll try as much as possible next week to show you a cutting tutorial of this pattern so that you don't mix it up. But if you are careful enough, by the time you cut your pattern properly, when you're cutting your fabric as well, you will not have any issues. For the back, you are going to determine how high is going to be. This is my own across back. And I think this height is good enough for me at the back. If you want it to go higher, please do. If you want it to go slightly lower, not too low, because you need to consider the shape that this is going to give you. If it's too close to your armhole line, the shape is going to be very almost straight. That's why you need to go as high as possible. So I'm going to be using my across chest as, a guide. So this one is slightly different from the front a bit, because we're going to have a zipper around here. So our strap cannot go beyond this center line. So that said, on this center, when you determine the height you are working with, you are going to come in by at least 1 inch to 1.5 around here. So that by the time you are fixing your strap, it won't have anything to do with your zipper. It won't encroach into your zipper line, because you need this to open all the way up and down. So I have marked, it should be at least 1 inch away from your center back, or 1.5. You can even go as much as 2 inches, depending on how wide you want this place to be. So from here, if you want to go higher, you can go higher as well. Just determine how deep you want the back to be. So for me, like I mentioned, I'm working with my across chest. What I'm going to do is to connect this point to my armhole. I'm also going to use my curved ruler. I'm going to connect from my armhole allowance, and I'm going to connect that. I don't like the shape that is giving me, so I'm going to go in like this, and then I'm going to connect. Let me use my black pen. I'm going to connect that like so. So this is what I have here, and then from here we're going to connect it back to the other armhole. So this is the line that your zipper is going to pass through. We need to now also tighten this area. My back does not have any dart. I don't want my back to have a dart. But if your back has a dart, all well and good. So I'm going to create an illusion of the back dart line. So I'm marking my dart point. So that your dart line, you're going to extend it all the way up. So my pattern does not have a dart. This is what it looks like. But if yours has a dart, you are going to have something like this. You are going to have something like this, right? So what you just need to do is to extend your back dart all the way up. And that's just basically it. So I will try that here now. So if you have a back dart, this is what it looks like, right? This is what it looks like. And then you're just going to extend your dart line all the way up. And that's just basically what I did here. So for the back, you don't need to tighten as much as 1 inch, because our back is sort of flat for most people. There's no bust there, so you don't need to tighten so much. So for the back, you can tighten by half an inch. So I'm taking 0.25 on both sides. But if you think you need to tighten by up to 1 inch, please go ahead. But for me, tightening by half an inch is good for me. And so this is what it will look like if you have a back dart. Here as well, I'm going to tighten by 0.25 on each side of my dart. That will be half an inch altogether. So what I need to determine is if this line equals to this line. Most likely one will be longer than each other because this is a curved line. So I'm going to measure that to see what I have. So for this one, I have 10.25, and for this one, I have almost 10 inch. So I'm going to go up till I have 10.25 here. I'm going to mark that like so and redraw this line so that when I'm joining these panels together, they are going to match. So I'm going to come in like this and draw it like so. So what we're going to do is now to measure our strap. Like we did for the front, we're going to create an illusion of our neck. The one from the front is coming from somewhere here. You're going to now create an illusion here as well. So let's create an illusion of our neckline from here. We're going to create an illusion. So you're going to create an illusion like this. Nice. So we're going to use that to measure our strap. Remember, it's just one strap, so we don't need this. Remember, for the front, I stopped at 15.5, and I'm just going to continue from there. So I'm going to continue from 15.5 inches. I'm going to continue like this. I'll stop at my first dart and then come to this point and then continue till I get to this place. So my total strap that I need to cut will be at least 30.5 inches. But because I need to join together, and in case there is an error while you are measuring, instead of cutting 30.5, I might cut up to 35. So that if there's need for any adjustment, I can adjust with this or and trim off when I'm fine. Sorry. So instead of cutting 30.5, I'm going to connect by 0.5 each. So I should add at least 1 inch for sewing allowance, right? And then I'll add another, maybe some 2 inches. So in case this turns out to be too tight, which most times would not, but just so that you are safe. It's better safe than sorry. So I might add another at least 1 inch or 2 inches. So I'll cut out a strap that is 32.5 inch long or 33.5 inch long. So by the time I'm done joining, if there's a need for me to trim off the excess, I can trim off. If that's basically it. You cannot cut exactly what you measure out. You add, after measuring what you get, in my own case 30.5, you add at least 1 inch for the joining allowance on both sides. Then you add at least 1 or 2 inches to your strap, so that in case you need extra ease, you can use that. And that's basically it. So for those that would not necessarily need my sewing video, when you are cutting the strap for this one, when you are cutting the strap, please, you are going to cut your strap on bias. Don't cut a straight line strap. If not, it's not going to sit. There is no way it is going to sit very well. In fact, if it is possible, use a stretchy fabric. In my own case, I use velvet, so that will help your strap to relax properly and you enjoy, you know, comfort when you wear the dress. Because for people like me, comfort is very important. A dress should be fitted but give some sense of comfort. You get? So this is what this looks like. Let me cut it out completely. So your zipper is going to be, so it is going to be 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. Your zipper is going to be here. So when you cut this part out, you need to cut it out for the back. The front you don't have to, but for the back you have to cut it out like this, so your zipper will sit here. So when you are cutting your fabric, you add 1 inch sewing allowance here, you add 1 inch sewing allowance here, or whatever zip allowances you use for your zipper. If you use up to 2 inches, please feel free, when you are cutting this panel, these 2 panels, add your zipper allowance. So demarcate like this, so you know what part is going to carry zipper, so you don't put your zipper somewhere here. So label accordingly, and that is basically it for today. Thank you for joining me on today's episode. Like I mentioned, I'm going to try to put out a sewing video by next week, and that will help those that would need the extra video, the sewing video. So thank you for joining me on today's episode. Yes, remember to label this also. See me trying to figure out which is which. 2 and this is 3, because you need everything to sit well. So thank you for joining me on today's episode. Do well to like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you have questions and comments, please feel free to drop them. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.